Hello everyone, and in this video I'll be showing you how I went from lower class member of society to middle upper as a web developer in Japan. It took me 8 years to get here, and I'll be showing you each year what exactly I coded and how much I made for that year in chronological order. The purpose of this video is not to flex on lower class or to prove something. It's not the point of this video. Like most of my videos, I'm just here to explain the steps I took. And I'm currently a freelance web developer, and I've been freelancing for over 5 years now. And I'd just like to explain. This is going to be an interesting one. Like all my videos, I try to be as honest as possible. And yeah, let's see how this goes. And like all my videos, please just understand this is my experience and this is what I understand based on my experience. This is not graphs and data and statistics and that type of video. And as you can see here on top of my head, it says 10 million plus, and this is the yearly income, or let's say my yearly earnings, not profits. This is pre-tax. And on the other side there is me 8 years ago making 2.5 million yen, roughly, maybe even less, per year. So this is a big jump. This is 4 times now, nearly over 4 times my income from 8 years ago. I'd like to explain this jump as well as the programming behind it, and just to remind you, the numbers are it's just fluff. I mean, it's real. I mean, I actually did make this much and currently make this much, but it's not the point. You can't just look at the numbers and think, I get it, shut this down, I know what's happening, or is that all? This is not I don't do that in my videos, okay? This is for honest discussions and back and forth ideas. And also remember this, you might take 1 year because you might be well educated, you might have a great personality, very smart, and be able to code the latest whatever tech stack is popular right now. Or you might be just a great fundamental engineer. So what we have here in this simple table here is we have household income. I think that's settai nenshu, and this ippan hyoji. Is that it? Yep. Hyogen, ippan hyogen. See, my kanji is not that great. And then so it goes from top tier to lower, if that makes sense. So let's go to the lower class. So this is the class, and this is the household income. So remember, I'm not talking about me and my spouse, if I have any or anything like that. This is just my income, but we can understand how, and I would link this table and where the person who wrote this, but it's quite similar to what I've seen around. So we had the bottom here in katakana, you can read lower class, and that's an income of, does a tilde mean under 300 man? Let's just call this $30,000, right? Let's not think about US dollars. Just think about Australian or New Zealand. Just think in terms of 30,000. Just remove the zero and make it thousands. But from now on, I'll just use Japanese yen because I think that's where most people watching this might be interested in yen. So the lower class is under 300 man a year. This is per year. And the next one is lower middle class, and that's 300 man to 500 man, which is not much to be lower middle. And next one is middle class, and that's 500 man to 800 man household. Next we have upper middle class, and that's 800 man to 2000 man. So that's what, 80k, 200k. Just think of it that way. Don't think about converting to USD. That's quite an interesting number there, that they have 800 man as upper middle class. So if you have a spouse, wife and husband making 400 man each, you're basically, according to this, you're upper middle class, which I don't understand, but this is just. And then if you make over 2000 man, you're considered upper class. And these kind of numbers under 30,000, let's say you're in New Zealand, 30,000, Australia, 30,000 a year. You can't do much of that. That's pretty rough. So 8 years ago, I was considered a lower class earner, and I definitely felt that. Then through the years, as years went on in my web development career, I slowly crept up. What came become middle class. Then once I became middle class, I think you do feel it. You don't feel as you don't worry as much for small things you buy. Then once I went to upper middle, I can actually start saving more. Of course, you can also start spending more, which a lot of people do in Tokyo. Japan, a lot of debt around, a lot of loans, a lot of G-Wagons around, a lot of car leases. That's that part. And just remember this is for household income. So if, let's say, me and the wife, we both make 800 each or something, or let's say we both make 1000, let's say we make both 1000 each, will be considered upper class. Just had to explain that first. I'll leave a link so you can see the actual article of this table. Okay, so we start off in 2015, and this is me, off my face, wasted, at some party with a bunch of mates, and yeah, that was life before 2015. 2015 is when I decided to learn how to code, and I was teaching at the time, and I was getting paid 2.5 million yen, probably even less, because you have things like school holidays. Not the best situation to be in. And in this time, I learned how to code. I learned React Flux, the Flux architecture, a lot about state management. I was doing quite well in that. My little side project with Node.js, MongoDB, and Socket.io. And if you can see here, this is the first programming application I made. Back in the days of React, you would use React classes, and then in the classes, you'll create an initial state. And this I was making a chat app. It was for clubs and bars. And then you'd have to set when the component mounted. There's no user effect at this time. Then I was using Socket.io to get on comments. I would set the state that will refresh the UI. And then when someone made a comment, you would emit that to Socket.io, and then Socket.io in the Node app will receive those comments, and whoever is listening in that chat would also receive those new comments. So this is what I was studying when I first started to learn. And as you can see here, I said, deserve your sleep. That's what I wrote. I wouldn't sleep until I felt like I really deserved it. Look, this is back in the days when we were using Sublime Text, and my laptop was a real piece of work here. I was running on Ubuntu, absolute piece of crap. It was only worth, it was worth nothing. The screen broke. I was using, I had to use another monitor. The keyboard broke. I had to use an external keyboard. Good times, lovely. Caffeined up every night, great. 2015, 1 year of self-study. 2016, got my first tech job. This is great. This was. I knew once I just got my first tech job, everything else would be smooth sailing. My first tech job had nothing to do with React or using Node. It was actually using D3.js dashboards. And if you can see here, this is not an actual dashboard I created, but I was creating dashboards similar to this, if not even more complex. Data was being updated constantly, real time, and there was also like a date picker as well. There's a date picker here, date picker, time picker, and everything was moving in multiple directions all over the place. So that was the first income as a junior web developer. We move on. 2017, doing pretty much the same thing. I did increase my React development, and I was still making a whole bunch of dashboards. And this D3 is not you can see a lot of easy ways to make charts with front-end development, but I was making a lot of weird things that it was quite custom. One of the hardest projects I had to do was with using D3, so no joke, D3, it's a great tool. We move into 2018, and I got a big bump, 5 million yen. That is the middle class, is it? Lower middle or lower middle? It doesn't really matter to me because I was working my ass off, working late nights, not getting paid overtime because I was catching up still a lot. I didn't go to university for this, so I was doing a lot of React, a bit of React, still a whole bunch of JavaScript. And at this time there was TypeScript, but I think at this time people were deciding if they should use Flow or something, or TypeScript that wasn't supported in certain libraries. It was back in that time. And I was introduced to offshore web development in Vietnam. The company I worked for was looking into using Vietnam offshore, and that's how I learned about the value of engineers. Okay, first, I was a lead for a product, for a UI graph and dashboard management tool for IoT systems. Sounds all like, no, trust me, this not what I was a lead on my Meishi, on my card, but in my mind, I knew I wasn't, but it was just a nice thing to have lead. But anyone can be a lead. You just got to get your manager to confirm that, or your manager to give it A-OK, then you're a lead. I like to add here that during this time, I sold everything I had, got out of my apartment, and I was into minimalism. I still am now. I love it. You don't need all this stuff. I reduced everything to one backpack. I just went wherever I felt like going, and I would work online. That was the start of me adventuring around Japan. But see how this 5 million yen enables me to live a minimalist life and travel and stay in backpack. So that's where you see 5 million. I thought I was the happiest guy on the street. I thought I was the man. Then 2019 came and I quit my job. Halfway through the year, I thought, I don't want to keep doing this. I was not inspired. I mean, the company's fine by itself. Most companies are. It's just how you want to deal with it, if you want to keep dealing with it. So that I dropped down to 4 million yen because I quit my job. I worked offshore web development sales, and I did a bit of React projects while I was doing that. And this is a decrease. If I just stayed in the company, I may have gotten a little higher. You see here, this is me in Vietnam with a group of engineers, and I was enjoying me some soup and Vietnamese bread. Good times. So now at this point, I did not use D3JS at all in 2019. So when you stop using technologies, you forget so much. Of course, you can just jump back on and remember, but it might take you a while to get back into your zone with that programming language. We move on to 2020, and that's when I went full freelance. I stopped working with Vietnam. It just wasn't working for me. I needed to get a proper engineering job as a freelance. Companies tried to reach out as an employee, but I just couldn't do it. I wanted my freedom, and I was still living in a backpack, traveling around Japan, staying in backpackers, staying in hotels or whatever have you. And so at this time, making 5 million yen, I had more or less one project from one company, and then I was using a lot of Vue and Bootstrap. Bootstrap, the server side was Express. I was doing full stack development with one of the projects using Sequelize, another project using Next. I don't know how to say this one. Not Next.js, it's a type of Next is a query builder, so you don't have to write raw SQL queries, not as full-fledged ORM as Sequelize. Anyway, no one cares about these anymore. What's the new cool thing? Prisma. Drizzle. No, Prisma's dumb now. All the mustache YouTubers are using Drizzle, so use Drizzle now. Okay, full stack development. I still kept one bag with my laptop in it and just the bare essentials. I worked full remote and I was living around Japan. But this is the first this is the company I was working freelance with, and they're nice people. Just Japanese company, really nice. So now you have a bit more money. In this year, I decided to travel more around Hokkaido. That's in Sapporo. I traveled to a massive lake somewhere up in Hokkaido somewhere, and I loved going to Okinawa, staying in hotels and doing remote work. A lot of lonely traveling, a lot of loner time, bit of a loner. Anyway, at this time, Vue was my thing, man. I loved Vue. It was so good to use. The enjoyment was amazing. Vue because Express I used already quite a bit in my spare time. I was getting quite used to using Express and all the tools that come with Express. You don't have tools of Express. You have an Express it's basically I'm not explaining to you how to use Express here. Come on, Tyrone. I'm not that smart to tell everyone how to. I'm not a teacher here. I was a Vue enjoyer with Express. Okay, see what happened here? How do I point? See what happened here? 10 million. 2021, I reached a 10 million mark. And this was not on purpose. It was just, I just couldn't say no to projects. I was getting projects a lot. And I couldn't just do one. I did two at once for most of the year. I was still 100% freelance, and I was really enjoying Vue, Bootstrap, Vuetify. Why do you use Bootstrap? Look, if you stick with just one of these, if you just stick with one stack, you can make things really fast, really quickly. You get another client, you create so fast with them, and they go, wow, you're so fast, you're so great, giggity. So I was enjoying this. It was great stack. Express, this whole stack was great. And I'm a bit of a soy dev. So in 2022, I released a video about how I did it. So I will link that. I don't know how to add it to the top or anything. So I'll just link that in the description below of how I made my first 10 million yen as a freelance web developer. Remember, my channel is not about flexing. This is not what I'm here to do. I'm just trying to explain to you my experiences. And also, look, I'm not saying that this is the coolest amount of you can ever make. I'm so smart. No. Silicon boys, BTFO. Now we go to 2022. I make less. I make 9 million, still doing two projects at once. So if you watch a video, I explain like one project is Yeonjuman, the other project is Yeonjuman, and I just do that. Or one project Sanjuman, one project is Gojuman. That's how I would continue in 2022. And still enjoying Vue, enjoying Vuetify, and this is when TypeScript was, it's not so long ago, it's just 2 years ago. There was kind of no excuse to not use TypeScript. You'll be shamed by your community. You'll be shamed by every engineer if you do not use TypeScript. So I just used TypeScript, okay? And still enjoying Express, and I was full stack. And the extra part here was I was doing Shopify development. And that doesn't mean I'm playing with templates or anything. I'm making shops from scratch using Vue.js and the API, Shopify APIs, front end. There's a front end storefront API and the admin APIs, I think you call them. So a lot of work in this month and this year, but I reduced it to 9 million because making over 9 million, you just enter a different tax bracket. I didn't know about that. So what happens now when you make a lot more, you have options. So I went to New Zealand for 3 months. When I went to New Zealand for 3 months, I still had a project or two. But the thing is, I can go to New Zealand, pay for flights, go around and not feel stressed by being a broke boy. I was a broke boy back in 8 years ago. Now I can go back home with gifts. No, not with gifts, but I can go out, and New Zealand's quite expensive, so I don't have to stress about flying back to Japan. Or so the 9 million yen as an engineer, that's a, like, people ask, is this enough? I want $2 million. It's like, no, let's be realistic in Japan. 9 million, as you saw the table before, that's middle upper. And that is true. And don't let people from like these silicon boys, they're in the bubble in Tokyo when they're getting paid crazy amounts. Your average developer is not getting 9 million yen, okay? Your average developer is getting a little less than that maybe. Even some CTOs barely get 10 million yen. A discussion for another day. But this point here, you really start asking yourself, what do I do now? Because there is, in some ways, a ceiling in Japan of 10 million yen, like any other industry, 100K. How do I make more, So I was enjoying my time in New Zealand, doing a bit of traveling, and then some life things happen. 2023, life stuff happened. So I was programming a little less at the start. I was really confused on what to do. Did I want to keep programming? Should I do something else? Should I go to nature and start learning how to do wooden joinery, Japanese style house buildings? Should I stay in New Zealand and look for a IT management job? So I came back to Japan, and of course, because I had quite a bit of savings from the previous 2 years, I was living off savings for over half the year. I became a wagie. And that means I was employed in a company. I made a video about that, why I did it. I became a wagie. And now the programming part here is I started to use Next.js a bit more. For lightly for 3 months, and then for Remix.js, I don't know if you call it Remix.js, you just call it Remix. I used intensely for 3 months with 2 other devs below me as assistant devs, is that what you call it? Not junior devs, but something like that. And that was with TypeScript. So 2023 was the year when I really went back into React and Next and Remix and TypeScript. And then towards the end of the year, I found myself side job with just plain old React, a chatbot, React, and I quit that company because I couldn't be a wagie. Wagie is something I could never do. I think I'll never be a wagie ever again. I just can't do it. I'd rather just take my savings and live in the countryside and grow some rice or something. You know, that's how bad it is for me. Now we have 2024 and current year. And if you saw my other video I made, and if you see the other video I made, it's 6 months of 14-hour days freelancing web dev Japan. So I was from the first 6 months of the end of last year and the most of this January to May, I was freelancing 2 projects at once. And then now I'm free from May. I went back to 1 project, and then it's already, I haven't made this much yet, but it's closer to this. It's getting closer. It's on due to do. If I continue on this 1 project at this rate, I will go over this yearly income. And this year it's been a lot of Next.js and TypeScript, just a whole bunch of Next.js and TypeScript. I never complain about how much I make, even if I make half of this. That's not the point of this. The point is to show you things change over years and how your income might change too, especially as a freelance. And just because your income goes up or down, it doesn't exactly reflect your happiness. But this is not the happiness show. So let's go on to 2025. So now at 2025, I wrote here start a company. And the reason I thought that is I need results. I need some type of result. I need to see something. I don't, to be honest, I wear poor clothes. I don't really care about showing off how awesome whatever is. No, but I do need some type of proof that what I'm doing is greater than what I was previously doing. And then going from 10 million yen to like 15, it's a bit, oh, that's cool, that's great. I'm not if you can do that, that's fine too. But I really want to push myself, not just in how much I can make, but what I can be doing in that time, something greater than what I'm doing the previous year. And I get it, some people don't need to do that, and they are perfectly happy to become really good at Next.js and just keep developing, or just keep learning Python, or that's not that's your thing, that's not mine. That's fine too. But I also want to point out this whole lower, middle, upper, I don't really think about it. It's not when I was low, I just know I don't have money, I was broke, and now I have. It's not much. You think that when you get to this point you feel safe, and it's like, no, I don't feel safe, because anything can happen. You can look around in the IT world, anything can happen. You just don't know. You got people laughing and glazing AI. You got people talking about the economy going down, the yen. You got so many doomer situations that you think your problems are solved. It's like, no, you have all these other problems. If I have to put a number of how much I would want to make 2005 or 2025 and 2026, this has to go up at least 0.5. This has to go up at least 50% or even more. But once you go over the 10 million mark in Japan, you kind of should start a company, because the level of taxes, and let's say once you make, I'm making more than I need to spend, right? So I need to start hey, that's the end of this video. I need to start my own company, and the chances are it's probably going to be something to do with software. It will either be a freelance agency in Japan that helps foreign engineers who mostly speak English, but we'll see how that goes. It's the most logical step, but I did realize that I'm not an ally of the message. So if I'm not an ally of the message, maybe foreign companies in Tokyo don't want to talk with me because even though I come from a poor family of a mixed race background, incredibly multicultural area with families and friends of the different genders and all that. But because I don't promote these ideas, it is a bit worrying to me that I'm not a bunch of white educated guys in Tokyo won't like me, if you see what I mean now. So that's the part which I'm trying to think of. Should I stick with Japanese companies because I don't have to pander to the message, or should I just stick with Japanese companies and make my way from there? Anyway, this is going off topic. I hope you can try and got something from this. I don't know what you'll get from this, but I hope you got something from it. Maybe just my only tip to people making less is don't focus too much on how much you're making. Maybe that's not a healthy way to live. Make it real simple. Was it worth working 2 jobs to make a lot in 6 months? Technically, yes. Monetarily, is that a word? For my bank account, yes. But my mental and my health, no. And that's the most important thing. But still, you need to push yourself. This is going way too long with this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like, sub, and all that. And I'll see you again soon with another one.